Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 11, and he has autism, and we paint together. He helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings with a hand-over-hand method, and then I paint the rest. And I paint a lot of flowers, but tonight I'm doing a bird. And we gotta say bird, bird, bird. And you know the rest, right? So, like when I'm doing my flowers, I do these birds, different ones, different ways, but pretty much always the same. I put one paintbrush and go through all of the motions. So that is where I'm at right now. And a lot of times when I first started painting, I painted tons and tons and tons, and then tons some more. Roostas. If you watched one of my other videos, you know I like to say roosta. I don't know why, but I like it. And then I just have to laugh because it's funny to me. The last few nights between the bugs and the birds and the frogs, I guess, because they have been quite vocal, to say the least. And I think they're about getting ready to sing their tune tonight. Last night, one was so loud, I gave up trying to fall asleep until it fell asleep. I don't know what was going on, or what kind of bug it was, or maybe it was a frog and it just sounded like a bug. I don't know. I don't know my wildlife very well. But it did not stop until about 12:30. Or maybe I just finally fell asleep. But I was hoping that it would like stop a lot sooner than that. The weather has been playing havoc on my veins. Well, the weather has been playing havoc on, I think, me too. But now, for some reason, when I started doing birds, I decided they needed these little pitchfork feet. And so this is kind of what I do, and that's about the extent of it. And they're not that bright on this color since the background is so orangey. It's kind of hard to see the feet, but that's what to do. You can see how the paints are like so thick in some instances. So we just keep shaping, and then we get the neck here up there, and then we give it a little fancy puffball. And we'll see how that works itself out. All my days are blending together. Owen usually goes and spends Saturday with his grandma, but as soon as the beginning of the week started, and technically I guess it was even before that, he decided he wanted to go to grandma's on Friday. And I'm not quite sure, except for he wanted to see Mickey Mouse on her TV, is what he kept telling me. So that's what got him prompted to go today, I suppose. But we went. I left him there for a few hours. He loves spending time with his grandma. I usually put the beak this direction, but I'm trying to make myself do it this way. We'll see her. So he went and he spent several hours with her, and then I went back and I picked him up, and he had a great time with his grandma. And then as soon as I went to get him, he started talking about how he wanted to go to grandma's on Saturday. And I made sure he understood, or made sure I talked about it, because he has a hard time processing it. But made sure I talked about him not going tomorrow when he had gone today. So he then started talking about going bowling, which I'm all for going tomorrow, but it will depend on how he is processing the entire day. So that's the plan, but that does not necessarily mean that is what's going to happen. And I'm feeling like I'm gonna have to make the beak a little bit more stand outish. Right now it almost looks like he has a like a sweatband or something across the face there, which kind of cracks me up. So I tend to like to put these wild hairs here, or feathers, I suppose they are. But I might have to, let's see. I wonder if I could do it with that. The beak isn't standing out very much, but I don't want it to I mean, you know, it's a wild bird, so he doesn't have to have a particular color beak, but I want it to. And there's my orange. It's not, that's got so many little thick spots. I think I need my brighter orange, because even my little legs down there are fading away. If you've watched any of my other videos, I always talk about how I love to watch paint dry for exactly this reason. I started painting with Owen to work on his fine motor skills, and yeah, I never really had painted before, and so learning how to paint is now kind of like my goal. That's my goal. And so that is part of the process, and watching how things shade and change, and when like this color. Yellows are always hard for me to blend and make show up. And so when I'm using any shade of yellow, which orange is not technically a shade of yellow, but when it's on orange and then I'm using yellows, just have to be like showing, doing extra to kind of highlight it instead of letting it go away, if that makes sense. So I had to kind of bring out the color to make sure that it, when it starts drying more, that it actually will show up. And that's what I'm trying to kind of do here, is give it enough background that it will show up. So that's what I'm attempting to do with the wild dew. How's that for a lot of times I don't put eyes on these, but for some reason I felt as though eyes were needed. Seemed like the appropriate thing to do here. They crack me up when it's like this. I don't know why, but it does. Sometimes I like to do a little curly. And this is where I get myself in a pickle, because I get going too many things. So I'm gonna try not to do too much. I'm gonna stop. But I like the curlies. I just said I was gonna stop, and I'm continuing to do them. They make me happy though. So if you're gonna paint, you might as well be happy, right? So I think one more, and then calling them done. Because like I said, I get a little slap happy with them. Oh boy. So I think this is where we're gonna leave it. I feel like some of this is gonna fade away though, like the beak. I have to learn how to adjust colors as I go along as well, just to make sure that things shine out, you know. See, like this is still kind of fading away here, so I'm just gonna highlight this again, just so it stays a little more bright. Usually I do a smaller beak than that, but I kept playing with it to try to get it to stand out, and then you see what happened. So we leave it at that. I can play all day with these things, trying to adjust them. So we do O for Owen, and then L and B. And this is as much about our story as the bird itself. And this is how I feel today, kind of frazzled. But this is the leftover paint, and if you've watched any of them, I push this around for my paint bobbles. my little blobs. I call them paint blobs, but trying to come up with a better term. But I push all this around. This is almost as entertaining or as relaxing as the rest of it. But make nice little waves through the paint, and I'll do some more. But I oops, I hit the thing. But these are what I do. I gotta make the necklaces and chains, keychains out of them. But like that's a magnet, and then a ring, and just all kinds of different things. So each one of those, like, they're the paint blobs. So once that dries, then it gets made into this jewelry stuff. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you so much for being on the journey with us, and have a great rest of your day. Toodles!